Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
Scramble, started off the pitch, keeps it himself down the sidelines. He could go. Antoine Randall L. Touchdown. Rourke going to the single coverage, end zone, touchdown. He hits Cooper again.
All right, what's up, everybody? It's been a little while since we've had to preview a game, but it's time. It's time. We're about by date of issuance. Should we be doing this right now? Yeah, we have to, because it's like middle of the week game. Sitting here planning out the podcast and live on the podcast. Here with the boys. The boys are here. Seth's here. Brandon's here. I almost said Seth twice. That'd be awful. What's up, guys?
Could you imagine if there was two Seths? Like if he got cloned?
Do you think he would do more work or less work if there were
Less.
two of them?
100%. Because they would both assume the other one's going to do it.
Oh, that's good.
For the first time in my life, there is a second Seth in my office, and we will often get confused for each other, though we look nothing alike. We don't have similar jobs. We will get each other's emails all the time, and there's a running joke between us that we are each other's other Seth. So first, yeah.
Wasn't it what was it, Zach and Miri, where he's like the other, what was that? What did he say? No, I'm gonna screw it up. You remember the nerdy dude like walks up to
love that movie. Do not remember this.
I can't. They're like at the high school reunion. They're in the gym. The guy's he like walks up. He's like, whatever, to Seth Rogen. He's like,
Stinky Linky. That's all I know about the reunion was Stinky Linky.
Yeah.
The other Zach.
The other Zach. Yeah.
Oh my God. I hate
That's
you. The
what I was
biggest
looking
game of IU football history, and you're Stinky Linky in on the first 2 minutes.
Hey, it's the biggest game so far, is what we would say. Yeah,
Also,
and that's
like, that's a great movie.
It is a good movie. The
great
Pittsburgh, it's Pittsburgh, blah, 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 blah. All right, cool. Let's get into it. Yep. The game Seth was hinting at is the Rose Bowl. CFP.
Ever heard of it? Nerds.
Nope. The CFP quarterfinals against the 9 seed. Are they ranked? I guess they'd be ranked number 9. Number 9, Alabama. Game number 14 on the season for the Hoosiers. They will be taking place on New Year's Day at 4 p.m. right in the middle of the sandwich of the other games, which we'll talk about a little bit later, right towards the end of the podcast. Playing number 9, Alabama, 11-3 on the season, 8-1 in conference. We'll go through their schedule super quick here in a little bit. I didn't even look at the weather. I'm assuming it's probably high 60s, little low 70s, sunny, not a cloud in the sky. I don't think that really matters at this point. It's at the Rose Bowl, as I said. It's called the Rose Bowl, and guess where it takes place? The Rose Bowl in Pasadena, California. It'll be on ESPN. Fun note about this one,
Early
boys.
Brandos.
Okay. This could be it. Go ahead.
Nicer / updated. Rose Bowl or the Big House?
Oh, it's got to be the Rose Bowl. Got to be nicer, right?
I heard the Rose Bowl is kind of Wrigley Field-like, where they've just put Band-Aids on a very historic place.
You're not wrong, but also looking ahead, Pasadena, 68 and somehow rainy for Southern California is the expectation for New Year's Day.
That would help the better running team, which
Yes, it would.
Guess who doesn't run the ball?
Yeah. Alabama. That's who.
They don't. No, they may not even dress running backs. We're not sure.
They may not. They've got a wide receiver that does a decent amount of running. So we'll see. We'll talk about that here in just a second. I was going to go to the TV. This is the first game we played on ESPN this season.
The SEC. I'm
it.
so happy I'm not going to be watching this on TV because the SEC bias is going to be gross.
Yes.
ESPN,
have they
SEC,
released the announcers?
It is going to be yucky.
I don't know. You have to look that up.
If it's McDonough and McElroy or whatever that combo is.
Oh, God. That'd be awful.
I'm looking
That's
it
what we
up.
had
Give me
for
a
the Notre
second.
Dame game last year, I'm pretty sure. All right. Yeah. So
it was 100% on ESPN last year. So that
yeah. No, I just mean like, no, who the commentary people were. Opening line when it came out, IU was -7, over under 48.5. It took a bit of a dip down to 6.5, just as of yesterday, but back up to IU -7, over under still at 48.5. Interesting, and this may shock some people. The ESPN FPI Power or Football Power Index has IU with a chance of 71.4% of winning.
I don't see it officially, but the last 4 years it's been Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit. So
okay.
Well, Fowler hates Mendoza, and Herbstreit hates IU, so I'm sure it won't be great.
But they don't like the SEC. Herbstreit doesn't like the SEC, so we'll be okay. We'll be all right.
Fowler did suck. This is wrong pod, but I can't get over how bad that Heisman presentation was. He should be stripped of his duties.
He was not great. He was not great. Series notes, there are none. Never played them until next Thursday. So we'll cover all that stuff here. No, not next Thursday. What is it? Yeah, next Thursday. What is today? Today's Tuesday?
Yeah, next Thursday. Next Thursday is the first.
Holidays and everything. Just there's no more days anymore, right? It's just dates. Go through their schedule real quick. We're not going to spend a ton of time on here. They opened the season with an embarrassing loss at what was turned out to be an awful Florida State team and lost that game 31-17.
As you guys know, I'm not a fan of Florida State, but I do know a lot about them. Do you know why they won 31-17?
I do not.
Their defensive ends, which, again, is a huge topic for us, made Ty Simpson's life hell. He is not a scrambler. They pretty much forced him to step up in the pocket where he just got crunched. So while Florida State, booty cheeks, not a good team, they had the right game plan and they had the right recipe to affect this Alabama offense. So as we preview it, again, the only thing I think I can take away from this game is their overall game plan was really good, at least defensively.
And Bragg, as you go through this, think in your head the defensive linemen, especially rush ends on the teams they're playing against when you do the scores.
Okay, because I don't really pay too much attention to other teams other than
you'll just
no. What he's saying is just look at what their offensive output when they played a good defensive line.
Yeah.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
At least from yeah.
So then they played.
Don't worry, Seth. We'll carry Bragg through this pod.
No. You guys watch SEC and other things, and I don't care. I just watch IU, and that's all that matters.
All right.
UL Monroe, they beat them 73-0. Then
are they a good DM?
Guess what they don't have?
Jesus, this is going to be a 2-hour pod. Can we just get through this real quick? Wisconsin, the only common opponent on the schedule. They beat them 38-14. Sounds familiar, right? We beat them by 24 as well. Difference is, you guys want to talk about defenses and spend time on defenses. They didn't have the freshmen playing at that point. So it's a much better Wisconsin defense as the season went on. They went into Georgia, beat at that point in time, kind of a teeter-tottering Georgia team, 24-21. Destroyed Diego Pavia and the boys. Vandy at home, 30-14. They beat an overrated Missouri team on the road, 27-24. Another overrated Tennessee team at home, 37-20. Beat South Carolina. They beat LSU. And then they finally lost again at home to Oklahoma, which we covered a lot in the last pod, previewing those two playing each other on Friday. And then they played Eastern Illinois. Your boy Ty Simpson had 2 picks in that game, but they still won 56-0. Then they went to Auburn for the Iron Bowl in a weird struggle, but again, big time rivalry game. It's gonna be a little weird. 27-20, the win there, and then they lost. I mean, spanked by Georgia in the SEC championship game, 28-7, and then a big win on Friday against Oklahoma on the road, 34-24. We're down 17-0 to start the game, right, Seth? Is that correct?
So,
yes.
So just to beat this over the head, because, I'll give Seth his flowers, maybe a rose for this point, but look at the good defensive lines. Look how many points they scored. They scored 24 against Georgia, 17 against Florida State, 27 against Missouri, 21 against Oklahoma, 27 against Auburn. Just wanted to make sure that the listeners are understanding that their maximum output is really in that 21 to 27 range against a good defense.
You didn't mention LSU, 20 points. South Carolina has really good defensive ends, 29 points. So again, just I think goes to echo those points that the better the defensive lines they play against, the lower the offensive output for Alabama.
Yep.
Yeah, and to clean some things up there, I guess for Brandon or for everybody, I guess listening, Oklahoma a pick six, 2 missed field goals, and a muff punt. Muff punt snap, not even a muffed punt, just a couldn't catch the ball for us on a snap, which is very reminiscent of IU at Ohio State last season. That totals up, right? Because they got a field goal off of that. Probably could have been worse. Totals up to 16 points. 16 points they gave up off of bad things, just bad things happening, which you can't do at this point in time. Like, and as you guys will hear here in a little bit, especially on the defensive side of the ball, it's hard to poke holes in the teams that are left playing football. So let's, as I said, the common opponent, Wisconsin, that's it, really a 24-point difference for both teams in each game. Let's dive into their offense because it's interesting. And by interesting, I mean, yes, whatever that noise was. So total offense are 74th in the country. This isn't going to blow anybody out of the water. None of these are. Scoring, they're 39th. Rushing, 118th. They average 110 yards rushing per game. Comparatively, IU's 10th at 221 yards per game. Passing, they're better. 22nd in the country, 270 yards a game. And I did a little bit of, not even Seth math, because it wasn't math. It was just research. So I guess my research. So I looked into to try to see why we were so much different in passing. So IU ranks 44th. And I think all the IU people listening would probably understand that a lot of that's game script. And by the time most of the games were in the third quarter, they were wrapped up. We stopped throwing the ball. I went into total passing attempts for the season. They have thrown the ball 147 more times than IU has on the season. You break that down into games, you're looking at what? 5, 6 games, 5.5, 6 games of passing. So I don't freak out about their 22 passing number. They just can't run the football. They don't have another choice. They're bad at holding on to the football.
Saw it all over social media leading up to the Heisman. Nando sat out roughly a little over 6 quarters.
Yeah.
Nando, and in the quarters he didn't play, it's not like his brother was dropping back slinging it. So essentially, Indiana played 11 and a half games. 11 and a half games. So I think that's important to note too, not just the passing attempts per game, but even in the quarters where actual football game was played, it was 99% run plays.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. And as you get into this, I think what I want to talk about, and I think you guys are going to do this a lot, is the old Alabama teams that have been so good over the last, 10, 15 years. That's not this team. This is more like kind of the Penix Washington teams that had really good receivers, had some really nice athletes, but they had more of a running game at Washington. And obviously Williams, again, I will apologize for Roma Dunze and back him, to the wall. But, Ryan Williams is a better receiver probably at that point in his career than Rome was at that point. So it's just a very interesting kind of, I don't know. They bring a lot to the table, but in a really different way than those traditional Alabama teams that were just so physical up front and just domineering in the run game, and then everything was built off of that establishment.
So another thing that I'd be interested, I'm not going to do the research to figure it out, but when I watch Alabama, they don't even try to establish the run though. So I think they're being 118th isn't also as bad as that, because we're not going to run. Kalen DeBauer isn't going to run to set up the pass, right? We talked about that last pod, was Alabama wants to throw the ball. They want to beat you deep. They want to beat you east-west. So it's not that they're a bad running team. It's just that it's not part of their game plan. Which, great. Test our secondary. Please. Want you to do that.
Don't beg for it too much. Their receivers are probably the second best, maybe third best set of receivers we've seen so far this season. As I said, as I was saying earlier,
Jeremiah Smith are better than anyone. Ryan Williams is good.
Did you not hear that I said third best wide receivers that we played this season?
Yeah.
Yes. So fumbles, they've had 75 fumbles on the season. They allow a bunch of sacks.
No, they're ranked 75th.
Yeah. So they've got 7 fumbles total. 75 fumbles would be a ton. But they're 86th overall in sacks allowed. Again, not awful, but definitely bottom half. 2 sacks a game. They allow 4.5 tackles for loss. Again, not terrible. It's 30th in the country. Where they're not even bad, but I guess comparative kind of to IU is their tempo. Based on the last stats I saw, we are the slowest team in the country now. Straight up. They are 124th. So this could be another Big Ten championship style type game. Now, do I think their defense is as good as Ohio State? No, but they're still pretty good. We'll get to that here in just a little bit. Let's talk about individual players. Everybody knows the quarterback, Ty Simpson. I ripped him the whole last pod, really all weekend leading up to really all Friday leading up to the game. He had a pretty good game against Oklahoma. Hard to complain. 18 to 29, 232 yards, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers.
Why? You were at a Secret Santa's that I wasn't invited to, so I know you didn't watch this as close as I did. But it was weird. Oklahoma didn't get after him. I mean, he was able. It's pretty much they sat back and were like, Ty Simpson beat us, and he did. They played. I probably watched, not as much as Seth, but I probably watched a handful of Oklahoma games, probably 40% of Oklahoma games. Brent Venables isn't a heavy blitz team anyway, but they can generate pressure with 4. And they just weren't generating pressure with 4. So I would have thought, as much of a defensive savant as he is, we need to pressure Simpson. We're not getting there with 4. Fine. Okay, that's fine. Send pressure. And he was able to be comfortable. I mean, he just was.
And that was
weird.
That was the biggest difference between game 1 and game 2 when they lost 21-23 was they were able to get that pressure. They were able to get after it with Wine and a couple of other ends and rush linebackers. They, for whatever reason, you're right. They were not nearly, again, not necessarily from a blitz standpoint, but they just were not nearly as pressure hungry. It was just a really weird dichotomy of how that game played out.
It was funny. My wife didn't watch it very much, but she was like, I thought you said this guy was bad. And I was like, no, he's bad if you make him make plays. And she's well, he's making a lot of plays. And I'm like, damn it.
Yeah, I just kept saying, why aren't they going after him? Why aren't they going after him?
Yeah, it's I didn't watch a ton of that game, but the time that I did was the time that Alabama dominated everything. I mean, they just kind of took over the game and really in the second half.
27 unanswered.
Yeah, and it was tough to watch. So yeah, you guys got to it. He struggles when he's pressured. If you can keep him in the pocket, he is an athlete enough that he can get out and make some stuff with his feet, but you got to keep him in the pocket. You got to keep him from escaping up the middle if you can contain him on the outside, and then shouldn't be a problem. We've faced much better quarterbacks. Again, at minimum, probably two more that are harder to maintain in the pocket and harder to keep away from getting to their athletes and everything. And we've done just fine in those. So,
I mean, I think it's definitely two. It's Sayin and Dante Moore. Yeah. Simpson's better than Nico. Simpson's better than Altmaier. So yeah, I mean, I think he's the third best quarterback we'll have faced.
I'm gonna stop comparing things because you keep talking about the same thing I'm talking about. I said third probably, and those were the two people I was thinking of. We didn't play any other good quarterbacks all season. That's what they'll tell you. I don't know. Who did we play though? Colton Joseph, would he be the third best or fourth best behind Simpson? Yeah, I don't know.
Altmaier's good, but he didn't play well against us.
Yeah, Altmaier's not good. Running backs don't matter, right? I mean, they've got Jam Miller, Daniel Hill. That's who you're going to hear about. They're the running backs, I guess. But really, the guy I thought that was most effective against Oklahoma was Bernard. Is he the Michigan State transfer, right?
Right.
And they brought him a bunch on some fly sweeps, or really they'll line him up right back there in the backfield too. And he was pretty effective against Oklahoma. Again, a wide receiver by trade. So we'll see how much they use that against IU. That'll transition us into their wide receiver group. I'll kind of go over a couple things of what I kind of thought from looking through the Oklahoma game. Ryan Williams, again, the guy that's going to jump out on paper, but not great or effective really against Oklahoma. But when you shut them down, there's other 5-stars all over the place. And one of them is Latsier Brooks, the true freshman, had career highs against Oklahoma, 5 catches, 75 yards, and an awesome touchdown. First touchdown, I think, for them on the game, where he did a little hitch, kind of turned around, broke 2 tackles, and dove into the end zone. He looked pretty good when every time he had the ball in his hands. And then the Michigan State transfer Bernard is a weapon all over the place, as well as tight end Cuvis. So, what do you guys think? Cuevas, whatever. What do you guys think of their wide receiver core, where they can hurt us, where they won't hurt us, all that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, these guys like to play east-west. They like to play a speed game. They aren't going to this is crazy. I mean, they kind of go back to Seth's point. This ain't your dad's Alabama team. They're not going to have the Julio Jones wide receivers that are just going to absolutely go up there and dominate with you. They're going to scheme quick routes, crossers, goes. Again, like they want to out finesse you. Seth, would you look at the wide receivers at Washington. That's a great comparison by you. Like, these aren't your Jerry Judys of the world, the wide receivers there. They want to turn this into a track meet rather than a fight.
Yeah, like even Roma Dunze was, I think, 6'3", 215. Ryan Williams is only 6 foot.
Yeah, so but Rome don't play 6'3".
But Ryan Williams is a little bit more slight of frame. He's so athletic, so agile. He will get between guys. He will absolutely finesse, as you said, through routes. But when you saw Jeremiah Smith versus D'Angelo Pons, there was an absolute size mismatch.
Yes.
6 inches, 50 pounds, whatever that was. D'Angelo Pons will be outsized again, but not nearly in that same way. So you have to like some odds as far as matchups go. It'll be really interesting to see. Obviously, we know that he tends to play, one side of the field specifically. but it'll be very interesting. And then Latsir Brooks was off my radar completely. So him coming to life in the conference championship game is one of those signs that Ty Simpson has really kind of evolved. And if you're able to take away some of their top options, he is really starting to develop some chemistry with the secondary receivers. Before, when it was just Cuevas and Williams being the two guys you really, really had to game plan for.
You hear it more in the basketball tournament, but freshmen aren't freshmen at this point in the season, right? I mean, they've played 4 months of games. They've had 5-6 months of practice, right? They know the playbook.
Yeah, and he looks like a stud. He's going to be another really good Alabama wide receiver probably, and just based on strictly just the way he can catch the ball and move and how quick he is. And again, it's still really impressed by that first touchdown that they put on the board. No idea who that guy was, but it scared me to watch it. So we'll see how he ends up being. Again, those were his career highs. So those were his season highs, his 5 catches, 75 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He's had games of 3-4 catches, but nothing that's gone big yardage or any sort of like big touchdown totals or anything. Their offensive line is I guess Caden Proctor, is that right? Caden Proctor is a monster. We talked about him last pod, 6'7", like 300,000 pounds. He can be beat though off the edge. We've seen it. You can see it in the stats, but a really, really, really good high-end day 1 draft pick at the next level. Other than that, they can't run the football, and the running football starts with your offensive line. I mean, that's as transparent as it gets. Not terrible against the pass, but I mean, where the holes there? I mean, what do you think?
I think it's going to lie. And again, couldn't have more faith, but it's going to be Brian Haynes is going to have to scheme it up, right? Because you're not going to be able to just push these guys back. These guys are 5 stars, right? Now, I think we have the best defensive coordinator in the game. So I like our chances to scheme it up against them. But yeah, I mean, you won't find a non-pedigree guy across all 5 positions.
Yeah, lack of success is not necessarily indicative of lack of pedigree, like you were saying. And I think Caden Proctor is the exact type of guy who, barring some kind of injury, is going to be a bookend left tackle in the NFL for the next 13 to 15 years. He's the prototypical size. He's exactly what you want when you're in like a video game playing Madden and you pop up and you're like, why the hell would I ever draft a lineman in the top 5? And you're like, oh, because he's like an 87 out of the box and 6'7", 345. So absolutely, they have threats, they have talent. It just, they play a really tough schedule. So maybe there's some reason why they've been a little bit less effective than otherwise. But yeah, this is not one of those gigantic, I mean, they are gigantic. I shouldn't say that, but this isn't one of those super impressive offensive lines like some of the Saban teams where it was just like every single one of the 5 guys was eventually going to be a first or second round pick. And but a lot of these guys are talented and they're going to play. It's just, yeah.
This is just to piss Brandon
maybe haven't
off.
Blossomed yet. Sorry.
Right. This is probably the 4th best offensive line we've played all season, behind Oregon, Iowa, and Ohio State. So, yeah, I agree with you. I think that a lot of it comes down to schedule, which, God, I don't want to do this right now. And, some of the opponents that they've gone up against could be holding some of that back. But the run game is not because of that. The run game is just not good. End of discussion. Now, on the other side of the ball, their defense is pretty good all the way across the board.
Real quick. I just wanted to go into some splits real quick. I was doing some research real quick. And this was not indicative, seems to be a word we've hit a lot on this podcast, but this is not indicative of the Oklahoma game because he did play well in the second half there. But what I wanted to point out was Ty Simpson's quarterback rating has got worse every month. From September, October, November, December, his rating goes down every quarter, and his home and away splits are drastically different. So again, just wanted to note that, as I think it's important that if this is going to be a one-score game, he tends to get worse as the game progresses on the road and as the season goes on. So I do think that is a number worth noting as we talk about the leader of this offense.
Yeah, and I don't know where he's going to. I mean, if you want to look at neutral field, he was terrible, right? He was terrible in the SEC championship game. So yeah, you could look at that too. Let's go talk some Alabama defense. We'll run through their rankings here real quick. 13th total, 13th in scoring offense, 30th against the run, and 10th against the pass. So I would say based on our offense, probably matches up a little bit advantage IU there, being one of the best. What were we ranked coming into this? The 10th best rushing offense in the country. Granted, some other teams have played games since we played last, so they get a little bit of an advantage. But a top 10 rushing offense against the top 30 rushing defense is probably where some of that advantage is going to come. Their turnover margin's pretty good. As I said, they're not IU at plus 17, but they're at plus 8 overall, and they can really turn the ball over on defense. And then they're pretty good at tackles for loss. They average almost 6 tackles for loss per game, which is 53rd. Again, comparatively though to IU, second at 8.6. So any of those stats, any of the rankings you guys want to talk about before we dive into the individual players?
No, like you said, I mean, I think the puzzle pieces fit well as far as how you want to match up offense defense.
Yeah, and we're going to scare you probably talking about some of these defensive players that we didn't really talk in too much detail about last time, but defensive line has got a lot of really good players on it. 2 defensive ends that are total studs in LT Overton and Keon Keeley. Those both guys are super fast off the edge. They've got a big guy on the inside in Tim Keenan that we didn't talk about. He's 6'2", 320 pounds. He's a senior, big run stopper, but he can also get after the passer. He's athletic enough at that big size to still be able to track down a quarterback if needed. So no real big holes on the offensive line, and we'll kind of talk about where that advantage, I guess this is probably where we should talk about it, where the advantage comes on that is they've been gashed around the outside. If you're going to run the football, if you can get it outside the tackle, that's probably their weak spot.
My God, that's Roman Hemby music.
Yes, it is. Roman Hemby, little Cooper, little fly sweep with the coop, any of that stuff. Really, I mean, if you get Black on the outside too, he's a home run threat anytime he's got the ball. So, again, we'll scheme some stuff up and make some things happen. The linebackers.
Another early Brando Rando here is since both teams are super slow, and what Alabama reminds me of, and again, this is cross sport, but I think it makes sense, is you don't want their defense to get set, right? So do you think we see some sort of tempo? Now, numbers would suggest no, Shanahan's going to dial up his game plan because we're 13-0 and it's going to work. But in my mind, I don't really want this defense, especially the front seven, to get set. Does that make sense? And do you think we see any tempo change?
You saw a little bit against Ohio State. I think you'll just see normal stuff. I think you'll see a little bit of it mixed in, but it's not going to be too much. What you're going to see, and I'm sure Seth was probably going to talk about this, is a lot of movement. You're going to see a lot of motion, a lot of moving around like we have been all season, and see if we can't pick out the exploits that we've done all season to all really, really good defenses.
Yeah, I think you're spot on there. But I think the other thing to add is I remember, and this was in the early 90s, so I think like the statute of limitations is up on this. But my sister was a really good basketball player. They went to state, and all of a sudden in the Final Four, the coach decides to completely change the offensive strategy. And she was like, well, why the hell did you do this? You ride the horse that got you there. And I really think that this is the time where you don't make a drastic change. You have worked these first 13 games to establish an identity, to know who you are, so that when times get tough, you know those plays to go to, you know the schemes to go to exploit the weaknesses of the other team. So I think you're exactly right, Bragg, and that they're going to probably use a lot of motion. It's going to be the same motion they've been using all season. It's not going to be some giant brand new wrinkle, or sorry, it's not going to be some brand new system. There's going to be a wrinkle here or there because they've had a month to plan, but I don't think it's going to be some holistic line shift from what we've come to expect these now 2 years.
So what you're saying is they're still going to snap the ball with 1 second to go. They're not going to do.
I mean, maybe seven. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Their defense, their front seven's big and good.
It's very good.
They're strong.
Yes. Yeah.
So that was my whole point of like letting this defense get set for a full play clock.
Yeah, and the linebacking core is really good too, right?
Athletic.
So the two leading tackles on the team are Deontay Lawson and Justin Jefferson. They both had really good games. Lawson had 10 tackles, a sack, and a tackle for loss against Oklahoma. And then Jefferson did pretty much the same thing, 9 tackles, also a sack and 2 tackles for loss. But the guy that I think scares me the most, it's one of those guys you could put him on the D line if you wanted to, but he's technically a linebacker, is Yanze Pierre. And he's the dude that leads the team in sacks at 6.5. He's fast. He comes off the edge standing up, very similar to Elijah Hardy, I guess you would say. They can move him all over the field. What do you guys, anybody particular that stands out to you, linebackers, and what do you think we're looking at there?
They all scare me, to be completely honest. These 7, I'm not scared of their offense. I feel like I shouldn't be. I should probably talk up Ryan Williams a little bit more than I am, but it's these 7 that scare me the most, that could change this game. A strip sack, a continued batted blocks or passes at the line, causing what we normally would get 5 to 6 yards. They can change it to 2 to 3 yards. Indiana's constantly ahead of the sticks. These guys can get us behind the sticks. So yes, if there is anything in this team, it is everyone you have mentioned on this defensive and linebacking crew.
Yeah, and you've already mentioned my hatred of the DELB hybrid listing or whatever, because I was looking on this original outline and I'm like, you didn't list the scariest player. You didn't list, and then I was like, oh, you buried him here. Pierre was the guy who jumped off the screen to me when I was watching the Alabama-Oklahoma game. He was giving pressure. He was the guy who seemed like he was just hungry to cause havoc in the backfield. He was aggressive near the ball too, trying to rip the ball out. So he's the guy. I mean, they're all 7 of them are something to be concerned about. But he's a guy who seems like a ball hawk, who seems like somebody who's going to be always around the ball, causing problems.
Yeah, he's a stud. I did look up a bunch of highlights of this guy, and he's a really, really good player. I don't know. I mean, again, we've seen really good front sevens all season. They're probably better than Oregon, but I'd put them right up against Ohio State, and they caused some problems, and we adjusted and took care of it. So, yeah. Well, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm super confident, but I think we can take care of it. We got the Heisman Trophy winner. We'll be all right. Defensive backfield, again, we talked about Bray Hubbard forever. You guys can go back and listen to that pod last week if you want. He had a pretty good game against Oklahoma as well. But the guy that, to me, and obviously I think everybody watching, the guy that stood out was Xavier Brown. He's the guy that had the pick 6 against Mateer. I wouldn't even say it was against Mateer. I would just say he was playing cover 2 and stayed in his cover 2 position, and Mateer just threw it directly to him. But he was all over the field. I mean, he had a good game. Anybody defensive backfield wise, are those the 2 main guys you guys are worried about? Because if you can do anything in the passing game, they are vulnerable to the deep ball, big plays. They have been all season. This may be, if you want to get past the front 7, I think you got to take some shots early, opens up the run game, control it from there. What do you think?
So, yeah, I mean, I feel like we've gushed over this team defense quite a bit. They gave up 31 to Florida State. They gave 21 up to Georgia once and gave up 28 to Georgia twice. They gave up 22 to South Carolina. They gave 20 up to Auburn. None of those offenses are good. They have not played a good offense. Like, if you look at who they've played, the best offense they played was probably Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Vanderbilt, Georgia, somewhere in there. Yeah.
And they're an above average. They have not faced a top 10 offense, which is what we are. So to really put things in a perspective, we don't know what they can or can't do against us because they haven't done it.
I want to add on to one thing that was mentioned and then make a new point as well. You said they get beat by the deep ball. Nick Harbor, again, one of the most freakish athletes in the history of, American sport, 6'5", like 245, and runs a 4.2 or whatever ungodly number. But he took the top off. And then the other thing that they've struggled with is mobile quarterbacks. You look at, with the exception of maybe Pavia, but you look at Castellanos, they gave up 31 points to. You look at Bo Pribula, they gave up 24 points to. Lenoris Sellers, they gave up 22 points to. So again, some of the more athletic quarterbacks have also tended to give them problems. So if you are trying to poke holes, if you are trying to look for weaknesses, we talked about outside run game. We talked about the deep ball threat. And the other thing I want to add in is a little bit of quarterback mobility, where between extending plays and outright running the ball can expose some of their slight weaknesses.
Alberto package, sweet. Just kidding.
So, we did this little table last week where we looked at how comparable the two teams were between IU and Ohio State. There's some stuff that kind of jumped off the board. I mean, we're not going to go all the way through all of it. Strength of record, IU's number 1, Alabama number 10. I thought that was interesting. Strength of schedule is about what you think, 6-28. But the one thing that was similar between Ohio State and Alabama, and I'm not saying it's what lost them the game, honestly, but it also is, it's relevant. I mean, both of them had 126 and now Alabama 128 in their special team efficiency. And if we're going to have another close game like we did against Ohio State, it's going to come down to kicking. It's going to come down to doing something. And if you can't make your field goals, I have not looked up their kicker stats to see where he stands and if he's any sort of a good kicker. I'm assuming at Alabama they're going to get a pretty good kicker, but 128th in special team efficiency is not good. It's not good. It's bottom. It's your eight teams away from being last. So that's just some stuff that sticks out. Everything else is pretty much run of the mill. I mean, they're either top 16 or across the board in every other stat. So.
The big 30,000 foot takeaway I got from this, guys, is we're a better team.
Yeah,
there isn't a metric in the world, and there's by far a large enough sample size based on the strength of schedules for both teams, and strength of record, since that is the SEC's not made up, the formula they came up with. There isn't a conceivable analytical stat that shows that Alabama is a better team.
Let me just add one note about the kicker, and let's take our break after this. The kicker is Connor Talty. He is a sophomore from Chicago, Illinois. He is 15 for 22 on the season.
Ooh.
That is 68%. He has a long of 48. And speaking of 48, he is 48 of 48 for extra points.
Well, that's good. He can kick it from the 3-yard line. All right, let's take a break, and we'll be right back. This episode is brought to you by your go-to expert in the Indiana real estate market. Whether you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in a home right here in the heart of the Hoosier country, Garrett Lawton with True Blood Real Estate is the agent that you need. He's not just a real estate agent, he's a Hoosier fan just like you. And Garrett knows Indiana inside and out, from Bloomington to Indianapolis and everywhere in between. Plus, his personalized service makes the buying and selling process smooth and stress-free. So if you're ready to make a move, give Garrett a call at 317-410-2500. 8851 or visit his website at lawton-realty.com. And we're back. All right, we're going to do IU players to watch or IU groups of players to watch. We'll go real quick around the CFP, check in on some of the games, do a little randos, a little sack, and then we'll do our predictions and get out of here. But who are we watching on offense, Brandon?
For me, and again, we're not going to know until warmups, but it's Debo Cooper. It's absolutely Debo Cooper. To me, he's the one that can match up with these guys across the middle. He's the one that's not going to shy away from contact. He's the guy that I think when we had our best offensive outputs, it was led by Debo Cooper having a beast game. We know how good Surratt is. We know how good the running backs are. But to me, when we looked the most dynamic is when Debo Cooper went off. So for me, he is the straw that stirs this team's drink. And he can be the guy that I can see going, 8 catches, 100 yards, 2 touchdowns.
I think there are so many storylines on this offense right now between him, the emergence of Charlie Becker, like you said, Elijah Surratt. Is there a Heisman hangover for Mendoza after the buffet circuit? There's all these questions. There's the offensive line now. Are they back to fully healthy? It's great that we now have 7 guys who you trust, but are they the best 5 identified, and are they healthy enough to go? There are so many, is Hemby and Black trying to exploit them in the running game? There's literally so many things. And I'm going to go with the offensive line, because I think ultimately the trenches are where this game is going to be won. We expect it to be a low score. Okay, I expect it to be low scoring, low possession at least. We'll say that much if you can acknowledge. And I think that because of that, the offensive line, their health, their ability to maintain leverage against these really, really good front 7 players who have size, who have speed, who have all of that SEC strength and quickness that you expect to see. How do they hold up? Are they able to stick with getting 1 or 2 yards on first down and keep with the run game? Are they able to hold up in pass pro against, some exotic blitzes? So it's going to be fascinating to see, do they have the top 5 guys out there? And if they do, how do they match up? And do they actually move some people around? It'll be fascinating. But the great thing is you have Pat Coogan, you have Carter Smith, you have guys that you trust, making those calls, making those reads, making the handoffs. And you've got to believe at this point in the season, you got to like your odds.
Got to like that we have a center that's played in a national championship.
Yeah, you got to like that. I could go boring. We talked about the run game. I had the run game listed as number 1. I'll go and I'll kind of side with Brandon a little bit. And I think that, we got to be dynamic and we have to have big plays and we've got to be able to do big things. And the guy that's made probably, honestly, Cooper's got the biggest play of the season, but definitely the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th biggest plays of the season is Charlie B from Nashville, Tennessee. You want to talk about a guy that can bust the game open. You want to talk about somebody you want to compare NFL wise to an Alec Pierce. That's the guy. You want to hit a guy, the guy nobody's looking at. Well, he might be now after the Big Ten championship, but going into that game, you're gonna line up against Charlie Becker. He's in the slot, sitting at 6'3", 6'4", and he's just gonna run right by you. And so that's the guy I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna watch Charlie B. I think Surratt will get his, or honestly, go ahead and take him out. Like just try to double Surratt. That's fine. We'll just beat you with everybody else. We've got another 5-star transfer EJ on the bench too.
He was huge in the Ohio State game. He's had a number of big games, and that's Nowakowski. Yeah, I think he's another one. He doesn't touch the ball a lot, but he seems to pick up first downs. He seems to get positive plays in the red zone. So again, we named this category IU players to watch. I won't be watching Nowakowski, but I do think he is a guy who, if he is able to make 3 plays, I think those could be all 3 massive plays.
Yeah. He made 1 play he made 2 against Ohio State, but The one huge play, 4th and 2.
Yep.
Where he rolls out to the right side, hits him on that. I mean,
he just seems to be, we say this on defense, like he just has a way to be around the ball. Nowakowski seems to be a guy that comes up in big moments.
Yeah. And I think he may be really important. That's a really good shout. I mean, especially if we can't establish anything down the field, it may turn into a big blitz fest, and having somebody like him available to either block or be available as an emergency option would be perfect. So let's go to the defensive side of the ball. Should be pretty easy to pick. Let's start with Brandon.
This is a guy I haven't said much, but again, this category is player to watch, and it's the legacy guy, and it's Aiden Fisher, right? This is his defense. Is he the best player? He may not be the 5th best player on his defense, but this is his defense. These are his calls. He is the leader. He will be the guy I am watching everywhere in this game. And again, we saw last year that I don't know if every team lost, but like the teams that had a month break struggled. Is Aiden going to allow his team to come out soft, to come out snoozing, right? Or is Aiden going to get the boys jumping, ready to go? So Aiden's energy, Aiden's play is what I'm going to be watching. I think there's other guys that probably have a bigger impact strategically. But for me, it is the leader of the defense that I will be watching first and foremost.
To follow up on what Brandon said about people that had a month off, I'm pretty sure I heard the stat is there has not been a win by a conference champion in the CFP. So that's a little bit scary. But I think if all the teams, the coach and some of the players on the team are not going to allow complacency and not be able to be ready to go. What do you got?
It's what Sig fights the most, complacency.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
There's a word that I used earlier, and there's a word I think Brandon may have used that's come up a couple times now, is trust. And I think there's a lot of players on this team you trust, whether it's Pons, Farrell, you talked about Fisher, even Kamara. There's so many players, Hardy, that you trust. The one player or the one position group or the one statistical category right now that we're having a little bit of struggle trusting is the defensive line pass rush. So I will be just fascinated to see how they're able to. We know they're going to be able to they're going to be able to generate pass rush from blitzing backers. They've shown that all season. I expect that to be continued this week.
Jones,
exactly
baby.
Right, exactly. But between Kamara, between Tyreek Tucker, more from an inside pass rush, Wheeler, obviously with Daly and Wyatt being out, how do they really? Landino, whoever in Dukeway, who do they use as that opposite end? And are they able to get similar pass rush on just using a front four? So it'll just be really fascinating to see how they use it. Are they effective with it? And then if it's not effective, what's that plan B and plan C that Bryant Hayes has in his back pocket, to rally against whatever they're giving up.
Yeah, and that was my number one thing was pressure. You got to get pressure on these big teams. You got to be able to rattle the quarterback early. Can we just stop? Can we just stop for a minute? Like, we held Ohio State to essentially they didn't really score a touchdown. They didn't drive to score a touchdown at all. 0. And that is elite athletes everywhere. And we were S-ing our pants all over the place, worried about matching up with this person, worried about not getting pressure here. They gave up 6 sacks all season. How many sacks did we have on Big Ten championship game? 5. We damn near doubled the amount of sacks they gave up all season. The word Bryant Haynes used on Twitter and has used, I believe, in the press conference was crazy. He's got some stuff dialed up to beat whatever they've got lined up across from him. It's going to happen. Bones Jones, good call. A lot of pressure. I think Hardy's the guy I think that gets home the most. But that's if I had to pick an individual player, I'll go with Elijah Hardy because I think that he could have a monster game.
So the big thing that I've seen on Twitter, on Pigs, on every sports show is, how are they going to replace Daly? How are they going to replace Daly? They're not. It is going to be by committee, because they are going to send Bones right up the middle. They're going to send Hardy off the edge. They're going to send, my Nowakowski on defense, Boykin. How many times did Boykin blow up a jet sweep, blow up a screen? I think we are going to see pressures from multiple different spots on the field to make up for what Daly's going to do. There isn't going to be a one player. It is going to be a committee edge approach of how they're going to do this. I brought up a couple pods ago, like maybe they'll move Kamara back. They're not going to do that for the exact same reason that you shut down my tempo question. They're not going to rewrite this defense. It's the number one defense in the country. But what they're going to do is disguise and come from multiple different angles.
Yep. And that's what I was going to say, Brandon. I don't know. There's probably not that many nerdy people out there like you and I that will sit there. If you can get an all 22 or get the drone view of any of the games that we've played and watch the defense, they'll line up almost the same way every single time. The problem is the quarterback, the offensive coordinator, the head coach of the other team has no idea where that pressure is coming from, because the first play you may have Kamara drop out from the defensive end position and go out into that cover 2 spot. You got Boykin blitzing off the edge, and you got Jones coming up the middle. The next play, you may have everybody drop back, and you got Hardy or Pons coming off the side.
My favorite is the double up the middle. I loved it in Madden. I loved it in college football. I love how they put a guy right over the center, and then they have Isaiah Jones on one ass cheek and Aiden Fisher on the other ass cheek, and they're like, you're only going to get 2 of them.
Yeah. And then if either one of those two gets one-on-one with a running back, it's over. There was a
Bones
play.
has killed Bones has killed many a running back this year.
That's what I was going to say. I know for sure there's a play in the Big Ten Championship where I think it was Jackson tried to block him and he just got obliterated. All right, let's move on. Let's go talk a little bit around the rest of the games, the other 3 games. I'll give your picks. Mine are probably surprising. We'll see. All right, the first game of the next round will be on New Year's Eve at 7:30. It's the rematch of 2000 and 2002 or whatever, the national championship rematch that Miami has been waiting for forever. If you listen to
the most talent-rich game in college football history.
God. Yeah, speaking of nerds, if you guys want to go look up the 2001 Miami Hurricanes roster, dude, ridiculous. So number 10 Miami, they go to play Ohio State. Ohio State with a spread of -9.5, over under 42.5, 2 pretty good defenses. I don't think Miami's seen an offense like Ohio State yet. That being said, I'm not real big into Ohio State's offense against a real good defense. I got Miami covering. I got Ohio State winning.
So everything broke in Miami's favor. Texas A&M's best running back hurt, knocked out of the game. Marcel Reed has got an absolute cannon, but that he's not accurate already. Throwing 40-mile-per-hour winds, and Miami had the athletes to go toe-to-toe with Concepcion. Miami had a perfect matchup against Texas A&M, and I'll steal this from Colin Coward. Texas A&M was also the schedule merchant of 2025.
Yeah,
they played the easiest SEC schedule. So Miami, again, the weather, the injuries, the schedule of who they played, all worked out in their favor. Which is why I think Ohio State is going to obliterate them by about 20 points. Give me Ohio State bigly. I will be teasing this to -13. Probably 12.5. But I could be talked into 13.5 here.
Ohio State.
Sorry, go ahead. I was going to say, I'd be worried about their pressure, Miami's pressure. That's it. Sorry. The Desmond Bain. Was it Desmond Bain? Is that his name?
Yeah, I can't think of the other guy.
Ruben Bain. And then the other guy are top 3 rounds of draft picks. They're very, very, very good.
Bain's top 5, man. He'll be the first edge taken.
Bane's insane.
I have Ohio State 31, Miami 10. I just think that I think Miami will make it difficult because they do have athletes. I think Tony is a freak.
7 days a week.
Yeah, I just don't think there's enough beyond that first wave of talent.
Yeah, I just don't see Ohio State moving the ball against this defense.
Yeah, Ohio State
that
has
easily.
the best, sort of the second and third best, or sorry, Miami has the second and third best players in that game between Bane and the left tackle.
Yeah, and they've got talent. That's the problem. They've got really good talent. Everybody's going to write them off, which rightfully so. I'll eat crow if they get their butts kicked, but I think they keep it close-ish. Ohio State still wins. I don't think this one's close. Oregon versus Texas Tech. Oregon favorite by 1.5, even though they're the higher seed. Over under 52.5. This is the first game of New Year's Day. It's at noon. I got Oregon covering, and I'll probably tease it. Reason being, when you get into these kind of games, yes, defense is going to win a lot of them. But the other thing is your quarterback. And Texas Tech has the least experienced, probably the lowest rated quarterback of the 8 that are playing. Give me Oregon to run away with that one.
Not so fast, my friend. Who's the best team Oregon's beat this year?
Iowa? Well, it doesn't matter.
Wash.
Who'd they just beat? Oh, they just beat James Madison. Top 2 defense. Probably Iowa.
Yeah. So again, I think Texas Tech has the better defense. Texas Tech has the better defense. I think this is extremely low scoring. I love the under. It's my best play of the weekend is Texas Tech Oregon under. Give me Texas Tech money line here. I love Rodriguez. I think this is again, Oregon has not been battle tested at all. And I think Texas Tech could steal this one.
Wow, I agree with you on so much. And I'm like, oh, you and I think so similarly. And then we come across something like this, and I think you are the dumbest person I've ever talked to. Oregon should win this in a laugher. I think Texas Tech is unproven. I think the Big 12 was an absolute bleh of a conference this year.
Mm-hmm.
I think their toughest 2 tests were BYU, and I don't think they were all that impressive. So
BYU's better than anyone Oregon beat.
So I think Oregon 34-20 sounds about right.
Oregon didn't cover against James Madison.
Can
They're
I?
not
I know,
good.
but my butthole still hurts from that. Thank you for reminding me.
What do you, both of you, honestly, but you took Oregon, so I can't really go at Seth. What have you freaked out about? I don't know, the entire time we've been talking about Alabama. Athletes, fast, quick, everything across the board. Better wide receivers, better quarterback, better running back, better tight end, better offensive line, better defense.
No.
Yes. They've got one good player that everybody's losing their nut over in Rodriguez. Other than that, they've got no shot, I think, in this. You know what? I'll tease it all the way up. I think Oregon wins by.
Where's the game being
2
played,
scores.
Michael? Where's the game being played?
It's in Atlanta or New Orleans or something.
Miami.
Yeah.
At what time local Pacific time is kickoff?
It's at 9:00. What time is it
9
in
a.m.
West Texas? What time is it in West Texas?
West to east.
What time is it in West Texas?
11.
You don't know that.
I do. That's the way time zones work.
You know, you split in half.
A 9 a.m. start.
That's like UTEP only or El Paso only.
Yeah, they are central. Damn it. All right.
Telling you, this is the upset.
Yeah, I don't know about that. All right, this one's not. Ole Miss going to Georgia. Georgia only favorite by 6.5 for some reason. Over under 55.5. Blow that one out of the water. That's the nightcap of New Year's Day. I've got Georgia by 17.
Yeah. Ole Miss did what we all thought. That game was obvious. But yeah, this is going to be Georgia. I'm not going to analyze this one like I did the first 2. This one's fairly easy. They'll win by 10 to 13 points.
Yeah, I think there's just too much chaos going on in Ole Miss right now, and I think Georgia this is one of those things where when you're playing NCAA football and you're like, why the hell is my coach stability B-? None of these recruits will want to come here. It's like, oh, this is the real life implications of that. I think just the coach stability here. Always go with Georgia and Kirby Smart, who just has a system that's proven.
It's not Kirby stupid. What? Let's get into some randos. We haven't had randos in a long time.
And we're not going to have it here because we need to get into.
You wasted them all.
Exactly, and we need to get into predictions. This is going to be a long segment.
Okay, Sack, real quick. Traffic, or it's impossible to get to LA. Oh my God. And then the other thing is, what do we think the split's going to be fan wise? Is it going to be 50-50, or you don't think Alabama's going to travel because they're too used to it?
Yes.
So that's what I've seen on some message boards and Reddit is that it's really kind of hit or miss. Like, oh, I don't want to spend a bunch of money to go out there. We'll just go to Atlanta, blah, blah, blah. I think 60-40 IU.
Well, Alabama.
No, I'd do 60-40 the other way.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was going to say, I think most Alabama fans think that if they can just hop on their bicycles and ride to Atlanta.
Yeah, go to Atlanta. Yep. They've already bought all that stuff. All right. Predictions.
Seth. Oh, damn it. Okay, I'm queued up to go first. Great. All right. I tossed and turned on this one. Part of me wants to let you down and be like the heel and all that stuff. I think it's low scoring. I think IU does a really good job controlling the ball. Really good job of, I made this comment a lot in the Ohio State game about what Ryan Day likes to do about second and short, third and shorter. I think that is Coach Sig's philosophy, Shanahan's philosophy. I think they hold through maybe some slow starts in the run game. You've seen time after time, even against some lesser quality teams, that IU has had some slow starts before. I know it's one of the things we try not to talk about. But I really think you got to get out in front, hold the lead. And I think they do that and fend off maybe a little bit of a rally and hold off, I say 24-17 IU.
All right. Brandon?
So it's we're in life. It's what have you done for me lately? Everyone is going to be looking at that Oklahoma game and how they scored 27 straight points, how they won by 10 on the road. This Alabama team has the better players. They have a coach that's played in a national championship game. Just the brand in general. There's national championship expectations, unlike the expectations at Indiana University. All of that is driving that this is going to be a close game. I think Indiana is better than Georgia. Last time Alabama went and played in a neutral field game, they lost 28-7. Indiana has the better offense than Georgia. Indiana has the better defense than Georgia. So why is this result going to be anything different than the SEC championship? I don't think it's going to be. I think it's a 21-point win. I have this as 31-10 Indiana.
Wow. That's interesting. I'll pay for that one.
Hold on, I just picked myself up off the floor.
Yeah, careful.
31-10.
31-10. So I've got a pretty similar score to Seth, but after I made my score prediction, I kind of talked myself out of it, but I'll leave it. And I'll tell you guys in a second. We've only allowed 17. This is going to blow some minds here in a second. We've only allowed 17 points or more this season one time.
It ain't happening again, brother.
That was to Penn State, 24 points on the road. You guys are saying, oh, but Oregon scored 20 points. They had to pick 6. So really, they scored 13 points. We've shut down elite offenses all season. All season.
This offense isn't elite.
Oregon, done.
It's not even an elite offense.
Done. That's what I'm saying. 17 might be high. 17 might be high. I'm going to leave it, and I hope I'm wrong. Alabama 17, IU 27.
They have the 74th ranked offense.
Yeah.
74th ranked offense. How are they scoring? Ohio State has a massively better. How many points did they just score?
10 points. It's just one more touchdown than what you have. It could be 27-10 with like 2 minutes left. We let them score a touchdown. You never know.
I do.
But I'm sticking with it. You don't know. All right. That's it. We've gone long enough, tripped over each other enough that we'll put this one out. We'll get it out for you guys to listen to and get you nice and nervous for a good 8 days.
For this
before the actual
podcast, how
game.
about we haven't done this in a while. Can we put our score predictions and in a poll?
Yeah, Seth.
Because I feel like we have three. I have winning by 21. You have winning by 10. Seth has winning by 7. So I feel like we have good splits on how we think this game is going to go. I really want to put this out to people because I have heard Alabama money line, Alabama spread, at least on the national shows that I watch. And of course, right? And I just don't get it because this game isn't Alabama, Oklahoma. This game is Alabama, Georgia. That's the game you need to compare it to.
Yeah, I agree with that. This is why I have the notifications for Twitter turned off on my phone. So just get ready for those, or keep an eye on the comments after he puts this out, because if it's anything like what we used to do, the comment section is going to be rough. Seth, make sure you tag the Roll Tide or whatever in there too, just so that we can get a bunch of those knuckle dragging toothless butt heads to comment on it too. So you got it? When are you going to send it out?
Tomorrow
Schedule
after this
bro.
post.
Yeah, schedule it. All right.
Come on.
All right. That's it. That's enough. Cheers. I'm going to go outside because it's like 50 degrees outside. So
it is super nice. Cheers, everyone. Have a happy holiday season and a Merry Christmas.
Good splits.
Cheers.
Was that your stupid?
Stupid.
There it is.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.